بل ادارك علمهم في الآخرة بل هم في شك منها بل هم منها عمون.
Nay, but they have lost their knowledge of the hereafter. They are steeped in doubt and uncertainty about it. Rather, they are blind to it.
85. After warning the people about their basic errors with regard to divinity, it is being said that the reason why these people are involved in these errors is not that they have reached this conclusion after serious thought and deliberation that there also exist other beings who are Allah's associates in His divinity, but the actual reason is that they have never considered this matter seriously. As they are unaware of the hereafter, or are in doubt about it, or are blind to it, their heedlessness of the hereafter has developed in them an utterly irresponsible attitude. They are not at all serious about the universe and the real problems of their own lives. They do not bother to know what reality is and whether their philosophy of life accords with that reality or not. For, according to them, in the end the polytheist and the atheist, the monotheist and the agnostic, all will become one with the dust after death, and nothing will bear any fruit. The theme of the hereafter is contained in this sentence of the preceding verse. They do not know when they will be raised back to life. In that sentence it was said that those who are made deities, the angels, jinns, prophets, saints, etc., do not themselves know when will be the resurrection. Here three things have been said about the common polytheists and the atheists. 1. They do not at all know whether there will be any hereafter or not. 2. This lack of information on their part is not due to the reason that they were never informed of this, but because they did not believe in the information given to them and doubted its authenticity. And 3. They never bothered to consider with due thought and seriousness the arguments that were advanced about the coming of the hereafter, but they preferred to remain blind to it.
وقال الذين كفروا أإذا كنا ترابا وآباؤنا أإنا لمخرجون.
The unbelievers say, when we become dust, we and our forefathers, shall we really be brought out from our graves?
لقد وعدنا هذا نحن وآباؤنا من قبل إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين.
We were told about this, and so were our forefathers before us. But these are no more than fairy tales that have been recounted from ancient times.
قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المجرمين.
Say, go about through the earth and see what has been the end of the evildoers.
86. This brief sentence contains two strong arguments for the hereafter as well as admonition. Firstly, those communities who rejected the hereafter could not help becoming criminals. They lived irresponsibly, they committed cruelties and all kinds of sins, and ultimately their moral depravity led them to utter ruin. This continuous experience of human history, which is testified by the doomed communities all over the world, clearly shows that belief and unbelief in the hereafter has a deep relationship with the soundness or the unsoundness of human behavior. Belief in it generates sound behavior and denial of it unsound behavior. This is a clear proof of the fact that belief in it is in accordance with the reality. That is why belief helps life to follow the right path. And rejection of it is against the reality. That is why rejection leads life into crooked alleys. Secondly, the destruction of those communities which became criminals, one after the other, in the long experience of history is a clear pointer to the fact that this universe is not being ruled by the deaf and blind and senseless forces, but this is a wise system which is functioning according to the unalterable law of retribution, which is dealing with the human communities only on moral grounds, in which no community is given long enough rope to commit whatever evil it likes and continue to enjoy life and commit injustices after it has once risen to power and prosperity. But when a wicked community happens to reach a certain stage, a mighty hand topples it from power and hurls it into the abyss of ignominy. Anyone who realizes this fact can have no doubt that the same law of retribution calls for the establishment of a new world after this world, where all individuals and nations and the whole mankind collectively should be rewarded and punished for their deeds. For the requirements of justice cannot be fulfilled only by the destruction of a wicked nation. This does not in any way redress the grievances of the oppressed people. This does not punish those who had enjoyed life and left the world before the coming down of the scourge. This does not also take to task those wicked people who went on leaving behind them legacies of immoralities and deviations for the coming generations. The torment that visited the nation only put a stop to the further tyrannies of its last generation. The court has not yet started working to punish every wicked person for the evil done, to compensate every oppressed person for the losses incurred, and to reward all those who stood by the right against the onslaught of evil, endeavored to reform things and faced persecutions in this way throughout their lives. All this should necessarily happen at some time. For the continuous operation in the world of the law of retribution clearly points to the temperament and technique of the ruling government of the universe, that it judges human deeds by moral standards and punishes and rewards them accordingly. Besides these two arguments, the aspect of admonition in this verse is, learn lessons from the fate of the guilty people of the past, and do not persist in the foolish belief of the denial of the hereafter, which, in fact, was responsible for making them criminals.
ولا تحزن عليهم ولا تكن في ضيق مما يمكرون.
O Prophet, do not grieve over them, nor be distressed at their designs.
87. That is, you have done full justice to your mission of preaching. Now if they do not listen to you, and wish to persist in their folly and deserve the divine torment, you should not consume yourself by being distressed and grieved at their condition. Then, why should you feel vexed at their mean machinations that they are devising in order to fight the truth and to frustrate your movement of return? You have Allah's power at your back. If they do not listen to you, they will only be harming themselves, not you.
وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ.
They also say, tell us when this threat will come to pass, if you are truthful.
88. The same threat which is implied in the preceding verse. What they meant was, when will the scourge with which you threaten us overtake us? Why are we not being punished when we have not only rejected you but have also done whatever we could to frustrate your mission?
قُلْ عَسَىٰ أَن يَكُونَ رَدِفَ لَكُم بَعْضُ الَّذِي تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ.
Say, the chastisement whose hastening you have been asking for, maybe a part of it has drawn quite near to you.
وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَذُو فَضْلٍ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ.
Indeed, your Lord is exceedingly bountiful to mankind, yet most of them do not give thanks.
89. This is a royal way of saying a thing. When words like, maybe, perhaps, no wonder, etc. occur in the divine discourse, they do not contain any sense of doubt, but express Allah's independence and self-sufficiency. Allah's power is so great that His willing a thing and its happening is one and the same thing. It is inconceivable that He should will a thing and it should not happen. Therefore, when He says, no wonder it may well be so, it means, it will certainly be so if you do not mend your ways. 90. That is, it is Allah's mercy that He does not seize the culprit immediately after his commission of a crime but gives him respite to reform himself. But most people are not grateful for this, and do not utilize the period of respite for their reformation. On the contrary, when they see that they have not been taken to task immediately, they form the idea that there is none to call them to account. Therefore, they are free to do whatever they like and they should not listen to any word of admonition.
وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُكِنُّ صُدُورُهُمْ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ.
Verily, your Lord knows all that their hearts conceal, as well as all that they reveal.
91. That is, He is not only aware of their open misdeeds but is also fully aware of the malice and spite which they are concealing in their hearts and the evil plots which they are making secretly. Therefore, when the time comes to call them to account, they will be taken to task for everything done and thought.
وَمَا مِنْ غَائِبَةٍ فِي السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ.
There is nothing that is hidden, be it in the heaven or the earth, but is recorded in a clear book. The expression clear book means the book of destiny.
إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ يَقُصُّ عَلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ أَكْثَرَ الَّذِي هُمْ فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ.
Surely, this Quran explains to the children of Israel most of the matters concerning which they have disagreements.
92. Hereby, record, is not meant the Quran, but the divine record in which everything has been registered. 93. This sentence is connected with the foregoing theme as well as with what follows. In the first case, it means that it is a manifestation of the knowledge of the all-knowing God that He is explaining through a Gentile, non-Jew, in this Quran the reality of those events which are a part of the Israelite history and which are being disputed by the learned men of the Israelites themselves. In the second case, it means that just as Allah has decided those disputes, so He will decide this dispute also which is going on between the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his opponents as to who is following the truth and who the falsehood. So a few years after the revelation of these verses the decision came before the whole world. In the same land of Arabia and in the same clan of the Quraysh there was no single person left who was not convinced that it was Muhammad, peace be upon him, who was following the truth and not Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab. Even the children of these people admitted that their fathers were wrong.
وَإِنَّهُ لَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ.
And it is a guidance and mercy for the believers.
94. That is, it is mercy and guidance for those who accept the message of the Quran and believe in what it presents. Such people will be saved from the errors in which their own people are involved. They will find the right way of life by means of the Quran and they will be blessed with such favors by Allah, which the disbelievers among the Quraysh cannot even imagine today. This shower of Allah's mercy was also witnessed by the world after a few years. The same people who were living unknown lives in a corner of the Arabian desert and could at the most become successful raiders in the state of unbelief, suddenly emerged after their belief in the Quran as the guides of the world, leaders of the nations, makers of human civilization and rulers over a vast part of the world.
إِنَّ رَبَّكَ يَقْضِي بَيْنَهُم بِحُكْمِهِ وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْعَلِيمُ.
Indeed, your Lord will decide between them by His judgment. He is Almighty, all-knowing.
95. Between them, between the disbelievers of the Quraysh and the believers.
Indeed, your Lord will decide between them. That is, between the Qurayshite unbelievers and the believers.
فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّكَ عَلَى الْحَقِّ الْمُبِينِ.
So put your trust in Allah, for you are on the manifest truth.
96. That is, neither can any power withhold His judgment from being enforced, nor is there any chance of an error in His judgment.
إِنَّكَ لَا تُسْمِعُ الْمَوْتَى وَلَا تُسْمِعُ الصُّمَّ الدُّعَاءَ إِذَا وَلَّوْا مُدْبِرِينَ.
Surely, you cannot make the dead hear you, nor can you make the deaf hear your call if they turn back in flight.
97. The dead, the ones whose consciences are dead and whose stubbornness, obstinacy and love of the usage and custom have deprived them of the sense of discrimination between the truth and falsehood. 98. That is, who not only close their ears against what you say, but slink away from the place where they fear they ought hear what you say.
Surely, you cannot make the dead hear you. These people are such that their conscience is dead, that they have been rendered incapable of differentiating between truth and falsehood. This because of their obduracy and their propensity to blindly follow inherited customs and usages.
وَمَا أَنْتَ بِهَادِ الْعُمْيِ عَنْ ضَلَالَتِهِمْ إِن تُسْمِعُ إِلَّا مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِآيَاتِنَا فَهُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ.
Nor can you direct the blind to the right way, preventing them from falling into error. You can make only those who believe in our verses to hear the call and then submit.
99. That is, it is none of your job to pull them forcibly to the right way and drag them along with you. You can only tell them by the word of mouth and by your example that this is the right way and the way they are following is the wrong way. But how can you guide the one who has closed his eyes and is not at all inclined to see anything?
وَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَخْرَجْنَا لَهُمْ دَابَّةً مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ تُكَلِّمُهُمْ أَنَّ النَّاسَ كَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا لَا يُوقِنُونَ.
And when the time for the fulfillment of our word against them will come, we shall bring forth for them a beast from the earth who will speak to them, because people did not believe in our signs.
100. That is, when resurrection which they are being promised will approach. 101. According to Ibn Umar, this will happen when there remains no one in the world to command the people to do good and forbid them to do evil. Ibn Maududi has reported a hadith on the authority of Abu Sa'id Khudri, according to which the latter heard the same thing from the Prophet, peace be upon him, himself. This shows that when man gives up the duty of exhorting others to do good and forbidding them to do evil, Allah will bring forth a beast to serve as the final warning just before resurrection. This, however, is not clear whether it will be just one beast, or a particular species of beasts, who will spread all over the earth. The words Dabat and Min al-Ad might contain both the meanings. In any case, what it will say will be, the people did not believe in Allah's revelations in which resurrection was foretold. Now the same resurrection is about to come. Let everyone know that what Allah said was true. The sentence, the people did not believe in our revelations, is either a part of the beast's own speech, or Allah's narration of its words. If these are its own words, the word, will be understood in the style of an official who speaks on behalf of his government and not on his personal behalf. In the second case, since Allah is narrating the beast's words, He has used, our revelations, in the normal sense. As to the time and occasion of the appearance of this beast, the Prophet, peace be upon him, has said, the sun will rise in the west and the beast will suddenly appear in the open daylight. Whichever of these signs appears first, it will be closely followed by the other. Sahih Muslim. In the other traditions related in Sahih Muslim, Ibn Majah, Tirmidhi, Musnad Ahmad, etc. The Prophet, peace be upon him, foretold that the signs of resurrection as emergence of the Antichrist, Dajjal, appearance of the beast, smoke and the rising of the sun in the west will appear one after the other. As for the nature, general appearance, place of appearance and other details about the beast, contradictory traditions have been reported, which only cause confusion and are not relevant to the object for which this thing has been mentioned in the Quran. As regards the beast speaking to human beings in a human language, this will be a manifestation of the power of Allah, who can give the power of speech to anything He pleases. He will give this power only to a beast before the event of resurrection, but when resurrection will have taken place, each limb of man, his ears, his eyes, even his skin, will speak out and give evidence in the court of Allah, as has been clearly stated in Ha-Mim as-Sajda ayats 20-21. Then, when all will have reached there, their ears and their eyes and their very skins will bear witness against them concerning what they had been doing in the world. They will say to their skins, why have you borne witness against us? They will reply, the same God who has given speech to everything has given us speech.
وَيَوْمَ نَحْشُرُ مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ فَوْجًا مِّمَّنْ يُكَذِّبُ بِآيَاتِنَا فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ.
Just imagine the day when we shall muster from every nation a large group of those who gave the lie to our signs, and they shall be duly arranged in ranks.
حتى إذا جاءوا قال أكذبتم بآياتي ولم تحيطوا بها علما أم ماذا كنتم تعملون.
Until, when all of them have arrived, Allah will say, did you give the lie to my signs, even without encompassing them with your knowledge? If that is not so, what did you do?
102. That is, you did not deny my revelations on the basis of some scientific investigation which might have proved them to be false, but you denied them without any sound reason. 103. That is, if it is not so, can you then prove that you treated them as false only after a thorough scientific investigation through which you came to know that the reality was not that which was being presented in these verses?
ووقع القول عليهم بما ظلموا فهم لا ينطقون.
And the word will come to pass against them because of their wrongdoing. They will then be able to utter nothing.
ألم يروا أنا جعلنا الليل ليسكنوا فيه والنهار مبصرا إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يؤمنون.
Did they not perceive that we had made the night so that they may repose in it, and made the day clear and shining? Surely there are signs in this for those who believe.
104. That is, 2 out of the countless signs were such which they were observing at all times, whose benefits they were enjoying every moment, and which were not hidden even from a blind, a deaf or dumb person. While they benefited by the rest at night and the opportunities afforded by the day, why did they not think that it is a system devised by an all-wise being who has established the relationship between the sun and the earth precisely to meet their requirements and needs? This cannot be a mere accident, for it clearly manifests purposefulness, wisdom and planning, which cannot be the characteristic of the blind forces of nature nor the work of many gods. It can only be a system established by the one creator and master and disposer, who is ruling over the earth, the moon, the sun and all other planets. From the observation of this single phenomenon they could judge that the alternation of the day and night testified to the truth that we have conveyed through our messenger and our book. 105. That is, it was not something incomprehensible either. There were among their own relatives, their own clan and their own brotherhood people like themselves, who had seen the same very signs and believed that the creed of God worship and Tawheed, towards which the Prophet, peace be upon him, was inviting them, was precisely in accordance with the truth and reality.
وَيَوْمَ يُنفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ فَفَزِعَ مَن فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَن فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَن شَاءَ اللَّهُ وَكُلٌّ أَتَوْهُ دَاخِرِينَ.
The day when the trumpet will be blown, all those who are in the heavens and on the earth shall be terror-stricken. All except those whom Allah wills, and everyone shall come to Him utterly abject.
106. For a detailed discussion of the blowing of the trumpet, see En. 47 of Al-An'am, En. 57 of Ibrahim, En. 78 of Taha, En. 1 of Al-Hajj, Ens. 46, 47 of Yasin, and En. 79 of Az-Zumar. 1.
وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ صُنْعَ اللَّهِ الَّذِي أَتْقَنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَفْعَلُونَ.
You now see the mountains and consider them firmly fixed, but then they shall pass away even as clouds pass away. That will be the handiwork of Allah, who has created everything with perfect wisdom. He is well aware of what you do.
107. That is, from such God you should not expect that after giving you the powers of intellect and discrimination and control over things, He will remain unaware of your deeds and actions and will not see how you have been using the delegated authority in the earth.
من جاء بالحسنة فله خير منها وهم من فزع يومئذ آمنون.
Whosoever comes with good will receive a reward better than his deed, and they will be made secure from the terror of that day.
108. The reward will be better in two ways. 1. It will be higher than what a person will actually deserve for his good deeds. And 2. It will be everlasting and forever, though the good act was temporary and its influence confined to a limited period only.
ومن جاء بالسيئة فكبت وجوههم في النار هل تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون.
And whosoever comes with evil, they will be flung upon their faces into the fire. Will you be recompensed for aught other than what you do?
109. That is, though the terrors of resurrection will stun and confound the disbelievers, the believers will remain safe and secure from them, for everything in the hereafter will be according to their expectations. They had already known from the messages brought by the messengers of Allah that resurrection will take place, and a new world will be established when everyone will be called to account for his deeds. Therefore, they will neither be bewildered nor alarmed, which will be the case with those who had denied this day and remained heedless of it, till their last breath in the world. They will also be satisfied because they had worked for this day and had brought necessary provisions from the world for their success here. Therefore, they will not be stupefied and confounded as will be those who had invested all their energies and capabilities in their struggle for achieving worldly successes only, and had never thought that there would be a life hereafter for which they should make some provision. Contrary to them, the believers will be satisfied that the day had, at last come, for the sake of which they had given up the unlawful benefits and pleasures of life and had undergone hardships and toil. And they will not be deprived of the rewards of their works.
إنما أمرت أن أعبد رب هذه البلدة الذي حرمها وله كل شيء وأمرت أن أكون من المسلمين.
Tell them, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, I have been commanded only to serve the Lord of this city that He has made inviolable, to serve Him to whom all things belong. I have been commanded to be of those that submit to Allah.
110. At several places in the Quran it has been stated clearly that an evil will be punished in the hereafter only to the extent of the evil committed, but a good act will be rewarded much more generously by Allah than what the doer will actually deserve for it. For more examples of this, see Surah Yunus, ayats 26-27, Surah Al-Qasas, ayat 84, Surah Al-Ankabut, ayat 7, Surah Saba, ayats 37-38, Surah Al-Mumin, ayat 40.
وأن أتلو القرآن فمن اهتدى فإنما يهتدي لنفسه ومن ضل فقل إنما أنا من المنذرين.
And to recite the Quran. So whosoever is guided, his guidance will be to his own good. As for those who stray, tell them, I am none but a warner.
وَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ سَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ فَتَعْرِفُونَهَا وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ.
And say, all praise be to Allah, who will soon show you His signs that you will recognize. Your Lord is not unaware of what you do.